Hello. Welcome to Should You Roll? The review show where the answer is always, you don't have to. I'll be reviewing the Quetzlcoatl banner, starting from lowest rarity to highest. Everyone will get Jaguar Man after clearing Babylonia, who is a single target crits buster Lancer. We have the Ascension tier. Basic, you've seen them all in the Singularity. And she's a quick arts buster, which means she can help out with generating the crit stars she needs for herself. Her skills: Jaguar Punch, Buster Performance, Debuff Resistance, and she gets evasion for 2 attacks. This means you can use the evasion whenever you want. On top of that, it gives you crit stars from the very first turn if need be. Second skill, basic attack up to 30%. The third skill is a bit different though. Increased crit damage, and then if you're on a forest field, you'll get both generation rate and absorption. The cooldown? Oh yeah, 10 turns. Yeah, the ability does a million things, so you have to look out for that. But yeah, just like Martha Ruler, you have the whole crit star absorption stuff and crit generation based on what field you're on, right? We have basic resistance and a bit of divinity damage as well as a bit of buster damage. Not really that impressive. The magic resistance is nice. As for Noble Phantasm, it is a sure hit Noble Phantasm for single target. Basic damage per NP level, and it reduces debuff resistance. She doesn't really do any debuffs of her own though, so it's more about applying other people's debuffs with her. Right? Fairly simple. As for you as a lesser whale, or free-to-player even, if you end up with wanting to use her, I would say H.C. Anderson and Hassan are decent choices for servants you could use, as well as Anniversary Blonde for your Mystic Coat. Seeing as you can buster up on the perfect turn for her, and you can make sure you have additional crit stars for that, like Noble Phantasm plus 2 buster cards turn. Alternatively, you could use something like Brunhilde as a support or something from your friends list, as she can apply crit chance, but using a support like that, you'd probably rather have Brunhilde do the damage. Jaguar Man will not be added to the friend point summoning pool, but you will have NP1. You'll have the NP1 for a single target with 600%. You have to roll on the current banner or do a guaranteed SSR to get more copies of her. And that's like solely based on luck. The first copy is fine though. I personally use Bedivere, despite only having him NP1. Moving on to Gorgon, 4-star Adventure. First of her kind for our game. She is a crit AoE Avenger. Her issues are star absorption and only 1 quick card. But she does come with a decent strength up, 50% for 1 turn. She's basically like use this on Noble Phantasm turn as well as try and get a Brave Chain, right? She has very selfish kits. Increase crit damage. The issue here is, yeah, it's good, but with a star absorption of 29 compared to Jaguar Man, which is at 90. If you use both of these in the same, like Gorgon wouldn't soak any crit stars at all. So if you ended up pulling her, I would recommend getting a friend with Brunhilde in order to give her the crit star generation she needs. For third skill, we have a chance to stun 1 enemy. Very, very simple. First and third skill are very simple skills. Second skill is a bit more... there's a bit more thought behind it. It is crit damage for 3 turns, so as long as you have Brunhilde's set up, you can make sure you get the crit stars every turn. She has this interesting passive here of charging her own NP gauge every turn by 3.8%. meaning if you use imaginary element, max limit broken one, you can get to 80% by the third battle, which means you wouldn't need a K-scope with, like, say, a waiver and another 50% charged servant. But obviously that's still a whale option out. It's a small thing, but everything helps, right? We have our Noble Phantasm, very simple, deal damage to everything, and charge party's NP gauge. So a bit like Excalibur, except it's party-wide and lesser percentage. Inflicts Curse is a terrible overcharge, but it's whatever. The main thing here is charging parties, so ideally you want to use your NP on turn 1 or turn 2 for, say, a 3-turn team. It's 15% once you get your strengthening, a bit more percentage of damage, but the curse still stays as bad. But it's another 5% there. That might be the difference between getting yourself a 3-turn and not. But ideally, the scenario where you'd be using Gorgon would be with the last wave or second wave having one ruler and then a couple of random enemies. Since she's Avenger, she will only be effective against rulers, which are very rare enemies, and whenever they are there, it's only one. But she does have the benefit of being effective against everything. So when you're on those terrible nodes with like mixed enemies, like 4 or 5 different affinities, and you don't know what to pick, she's a great choice there. With the Brynhilde support, you could go for her as a single target damage dealer as well for that. Like, the ideal setup is still one ruler and 2 other enemies that are all hard to kill. So you can do Buster Brave Chains with her on the crit up. Yeah, that's basically it. She's a bit hard to skill up, a bit hard to ascend as well. You need 20 of the new material, Cursed Beast Cloak. But that's the thing for all of these new servants. They need to introduce new materials so people aren't just outstacked straight away, right? Alongside Brynhilde, you would want something else to generate crit stars, either Hassan or Ixianasen. If you swap for a pluck suit instead of Anniversary Blonde, you could bring in Shakespeare in the back as well. Story summon? Yeah, only story summon. She won't be on regular rate up. That's the issue with Gorgon as well. All 3 of these servants are only story banner summons. So you either have to roll them on rate up or waste your quartz on the story banner. But that's about it for Gorgon. Moving on to Quetzlcoatl, as I figured out the pronunciation should be. We have a single target Arts Buster Rider who is very reliant on crits support here. There's only 1 quick cards, but all of her cards hits a lot of times. So say a quick arts chain would generate her a lot of crit stars still, just because of the amount of hits. But ideally you would want support again. Ixianasen and Hassan is an option, but I figured Ciso is actually the ultimate option for this, as they both have crit support, unlike any other. And again, Anniversary Blonde, if you have it, otherwise Pluck Suit, for another free-to-play setup. The setup is basically, regardless of whether or not you have her crit skills up, you'll always get the crit stars you need on Quetzalcoatl. And yeah, into her skills. Basic Charisma A, always good. No denying that. She has a targeted gut status, which alongside the Anniversary Blonde will help you with keeping your 3 stars alive, or your weaker servants. Basically, the idea of this is teams that anyone can do if they do that one roll, because why not, and they don't really have anything else, right? Obviously, you waste the bus drop if you do this, but keeping the support of Ixianasen alive is a lot more important, since you would usually be doing a setup like this for a boss fight. As for a third skill, crit star absorption, just make sure you get, if you don't have that many crit stars, but you do have a full Brave Chain, you want to make sure you get that. On top of that, it charges NP gain and crit damage, which is all very nice. So ideally you use this 1 turn, get the crit damage for a full Brave Chain, all 3 attacks, and then the next turn you can NP. Otherwise, do a Buster Brave, since you get the NP from that. which just goes from 20 to 30%, another single target servant with that. On to passive skills, she has magic resistance twice, because she has Goddess Essence. So I don't know if these have diminishing returns or not, but otherwise she has 50% chance to resist all debuffs, which seem to be the case in the story mode as well. On top of that, she does have a quick performance. So the one quick card she does have will always generate her a decent amount of quick stars. Fighting with her would basically focus all cards from her, and then any card from Caesar, and lastly any card from H. Janison. It's very simple. Hunter's Noble Phantasm deals damage to an enemy. Very, very simple. It inflicts burn. Useless, but it's damage. Whatever. The seal of an NP is fairly weak. Like, you would never use this. Like, you wouldn't hold this for like 2 turns waiting to seal the NP for 1 turn. You'd rather just deal the damage straight away. So the only time this would matter would be like turn 1 fully charged servants or something, where you need 2 turns to kill them. Would be the only scenario I could see where this would matter. But overall, purely crit based servant. You go for the cards to deal damage. The Noble Phantasm is just, you know, the icing on the cake. But overall, weakness of this, or the benefits of this banner, would be no C rate ups. So we have better K-scope chances, we have better 20-30 chances. 20-30 would be really great for H. Janison in this setup. On top of that, as if you like crit-based setups, this is perfect rate up for you. Every servant has some sort of synergy with crit. So if you like that playstyle, that's another reason you could roll for this. But obviously, as always, you don't have to roll if you don't want to, because that's the whole point of this show. And that will conclude my review. Let's get to some rolls.